give full attention to the process that they've given us all together. And I'm going to start this morning by reading from Prabhupada's instructions. We're in a section in this compilation about the holy name where there are excerpts from Prabhupada's teachings about how to successfully chant the Mahamantra, especially by avoiding offenses. And so I'm taking up where I left off last time, where Prabhupada's describing the seventh offense. And I'll continue to the end of this paragraph. The seventh offense is described as follows: Namno balad yasya hi papa buddhir, navidyate tasya yamar hi shuddhi. To think that since the Hare Krishna mantra can counteract all sinful reactions, one may therefore go on with his sinful activities and at the same time chant the Hare Krishna mantra to neutralize them is the greatest offense at the lotus feet of Harinam. The eighth offense is stated thus: Dharma vrata tyaga hutadi sarva shubha kriya samyam api pramadaha. It is offensive to consider the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra to be a religious, ritualistic ceremony. Performing religious ceremonies, following vows, and practicing renunciation and sacrifice are all materialistic, auspicious activities. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra must not be compared to such materialistic religiosity. This is an offense at the lotus feet of the holy name of the Lord. The ninth offense is described as follows: Ashradadhani vimukhe pyashrinvati yashchopadesha shiva nama paradaha. It is an offense to preach the glories of the holy name among persons who have no intelligence or no faith in the subject matter. Such people should be given the chance to hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but in the beginning, they should not be instructed about the glories of the spiritual significance of the holy name. By constant hearing of the holy name, their hearts will be purified, and then they will be able to understand the transcendental position of the holy name. The 10th offense is as follows: Shrute pinama mahatmye yapriti rahito nara aham mamadi paramo namni sopya parada krit. If one has heard the glories of the transcendental holy name of the Lord, but nonetheless continues in a materialistic concept of life, thinking I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine, and does not show respect and love for the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is an offense. Who can give me a verse from the Srila Rupa Goswami's Namamrita that describes how when one hears the holy name, he or she can awaken to the feeling and meaning of bhakti? You know, that's the third verse in the Namashtakam. I'm sorry. Srila Rupa Goswami's Namashtakam. Malini, you know the Namashtakam. What's the third verse?
Is it Vacham Vachikam Utyudeti?
Jayanamadhe.
Go ahead, say it. Either Malini or Shraddha, whoever knows it.
Malini, go ahead.
I don't know if I'll remember the whole thing.
That's one of the ways to learn these verses is to say them imperfectly, because then you start to get a hunger for putting it back together again the right way. So just try to muddle through.
Go ahead, Mahataji, please go ahead.
No, verse number 3 is that Yada Bhaso Piyujan, that one.
Yada Bhaso Piyujan.
Yes.
Tabhavadvanta vibhavo. Drisham tadvandanam apiti dishati bhakti pranayinim. Can you say what it means, that first two lines? Those are the ones I wanted to point to.
even a dim glimmer of your name. It's holy name, and it says even a dim glimmer, yada bhaso, even just a abhas. Then it eats away all the darkness.
For whom?
For us.
It says specifically for andhanam, for those who are blind.
Yeah.
Tattva andhana means anybody who's blind to the truth. So I was relating it to this point Prabhupada made. Don't try to preach the philosophy of the holy name to people who are blind or ignorant, who don't have the intelligence to understand it. But if you chant Hare Krishna and they hear it, then tattva andhanam, those people who are blind to the truth, they can awaken a sense of bhakti just by hearing the holy name. What to speak of those like all of you who are in this group today, eager to chant and listen to the holy name, who have faith in the name, who understand the tattva and the philosophy behind the holy name, and then who give full attention to hearing. What effect will be there? If an ignorant person who just hears the holy name can be awakened, and they can get an abhas, what can a sincere person whose lifestyle is organized around the principle of serving the holy name by distributing it, listening carefully to it, respecting the holy name, what can that person get? Who has an answer to that?
Much, much more.
Yeah, that's a general answer, but give me something specific from the Shastra. Somebody? You can get prema. Because Haridas Thakur says in the Harinam Chintamani that if you chant in Namabhas, that is, you're trying to avoid the offenses. And he said that if you're being very diligent in chanting the holy name of the Lord, trying to avoid offenses, giving full attention to the process of chanting, respecting it, he says, you will definitely come to the position of a prema in chanting the holy name of the Lord by your sincere endeavors. Because he says, I've mentioned this before, there's low-level namabhas and high-level namabhas. Low-level means you incidentally chant the holy name because you said it jokingly, you said it incidentally, you said it as a matter of chastising a devotee, say, you Hare Krishna people should get out of here. You said Hare Krishna, big mistake. But there's high-level namabhas, which means that you understand the tattva of the holy name, you're trying to avoid the offenses, and you're giving your full attention to it. Thakur Haridas says, you will definitely come to the position of prema and achieve success, because the holy name is so merciful for everybody, even the most fallen and blind people, what to speak of those who are sincerely trying. So this japa circle represents, or not represents, it's a gathering of those who are vitally interested in attaining the goal of life, especially through this method of chanting the holy name. So you can rejoice in the fact, despite whatever else is going on in your life or whatever obstacles you feel, shortcomings you have in yourself, that you are on a track that is infallible. And just by dint of that you're in this group this morning, either here or on Facebook or anywhere else listening, you're in an elite group that is getting a special mercy from the Panchatattva. So let us, with great enthusiasm and faith in the power of the holy name, as inept as we may feel, lean into this process and worship the holy name by chanting and listening very careful. Everyone who agrees with this idea in part or in whole, please give me a thumbs up or some smile or acknowledgement. Okay, thank you very much. What does Radha Venkat Prabhu feel? He says yes. Okay, good. Let's start by worshiping the Panchatattva, the way, as we've heard in previous weeks, to remove all obstacles in the chanting by approaching their lotus feet and praying. Put our heads at the lotus feet of the Panchatattva, saying their names, and then we will carefully go into the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the next 35 minutes. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. I'm continuing with a few of the teachings of Srila Prabhupada on chanting the holy name. If one's heart does not change, tears do not flow from his eyes, his body not shiver, and his bodily hairs do not stand on end, as he chants the Harē Krishna Mahamantra, it should be understood that his heart is as hard as iron. This is due to his offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. Purport: Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, commenting on this verse, which is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 2:3-24, remarks that sometimes a Mahabhagavata or very advanced devotee does not manifest such transcendental symptoms as tears in the eyes, whereas sometimes a Kanishta Adhikari, a neophyte devotee, displays them artificially. This does not mean, however, that the neophyte is more advanced than the Mahabhagavata devotee. The test of the real change of heart that takes place when one chants the Harē Krishna Mahamantra is that one becomes detached from material enjoyment. This is the real change. Bhakti parishanubhavo viraktir anyatra cha. If one is actually advancing in spiritual life, he must become very much detached from material enjoyment. It is sometimes found that a Kanishta Adhikari, neophyte devotee, shows artificial tears in his eyes while chanting the Harē Krishna mantra, but is still completely attached to material things. His heart has not really changed. The change must be manifested in terms of one's real activities. And this is the great miracle of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Because as the Bhagavatam says, even the yogis who endeavor with alacrity to detach themselves from the material world, shroto ganas, that they're overcome again when the waves of material sense gratification come. But the devotees, yet pada pankacha palasa vilasya bhakta karmashrayam gratitam ugratayanti santa. They're able, because of their absorption in the beauty of Krishna, his beautiful pastimes, his beautiful form, to overcome the strong knot that holds everybody to the material world. And the full manifestation of Krishna is there within his holy name. Iti murtyabhidanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajite yagya purusham sasamyag darshana puman. Sasamyag darshana puman. You get the full darshan of Krishna through the mantra. Narada says this in the Bhagavatam. And so even a simple person who takes to the chanting of the Harē Krishna Mahamantra with enthusiasm and attention can derive all the benefits of all the processes of jnana, karma, yoga. It all culminates in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and what to speak of bhakti, as this is the pinnacle of the process of bhakti, is chanting the holy name of the Lord, as we know from the very first verse of Rupa Goswami's Namashtakam, which is
Shruti Mali Ratnamala Dutine Rajita Padukam.
You didn't hear the first word. Somehow got chopped.
Because I don't remember the first word.
Go ahead, Malini. Nikila Shruti means all the Shrutis, all the Vedas. They're all pointing to one thing, and that is the chanting of the holy name. So you can know that all the processes of that are mentioned in the Shrutis and the Smritis, everything culminates in the chanting of the holy name. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. Nam nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpitanya mahita smarane nakala. And unlike the Shruti mantras, there's no time, place, there's no lifestyle, particularly like anybody from any walk of life can do this. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. It's an open program. And he went around teaching it to people who normally had no connection with spiritual life, practice, even cleanliness, anything. And by chanting the holy name of the Lord, they would attain all the qualities. Somebody give me one verse from Bhagavatam that says, by practicing devotional service, you get all good qualities.
Yes, yes, the Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarver
Okay,
Gunasya
you're cut off now, Shraddha. No more verses for you today. Somebody else give me that.
Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatya Suvairagyam Jananchada Ahaitukam.
Yeah, those are two very good ones. One that Shraddha said and one that Prema said. So, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavatiya Kinchana. This verse 5, 18, 12 from the Bhagavatam says, by fully giving oneself to the process of bhakti, one naturally develops all good qualities. And then Prema gave this excellent verse from Bhagavatam, Divinity and Divine Service, that by directly serving Krishna, and that would be done by chanting Hare Krishna, hearing and chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Iti pumsarti pita Vishnu bhaktish chennavalakshana. These are the 9 direct processes, Prahlad Maharaj says, of devotional service. You can be sure that you're making advancement when you're doing these, because you never go broke taking a profit, as they say on Wall Street. So if you're engaged in the 9 processes directly, then naturally you'll get detachment and you'll get knowledge. So we can take shelter of this process, and we can also successfully transfer it to other people because it's simple and effective that other people can take to it. So if we organize our life around this principle of really embracing the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as our main practice, and then thinking of ways to help other people get onboarded into the process of chanting by developing a structure of faith so they understand what it is, and then coaching them along so they can chant Hare Krishna, they too will get all good qualities and get knowledge and detachment. Now let's hear a few reflections or realizations. What did you hear so far from the reading or from the discussion or your own realization about chanting the holy name? Please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you so much, Prabhu, for reminding about the Namashtakam. I used to recite those verses every day, but haven't done lately, so I miss them now. And because you reminded me, I wanted to study them again. So I wanted to thank you for that, Prabhu. And while I was chanting today, I was remembering how Rupa Goswami has given us so much. So while I was chanting, I was remembering Ter Kadamba, where he was writing all the scriptures. So I felt so, I was just for the prospect that I will study the holy name. I felt so happy and I felt so connected with the holy name. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Fantastic. Yes, and these verses become our friends and guide us. And sometimes if we don't chant them for a while and we remember the verses and we go back to them, then we remember, oh yes, I remember this time when we learned them and all the realizations that come with it. And chanting, and then also remembering the great souls like Rupa Goswami writing these things in Terkatamba is a really powerful meditation. What other things?
We would like to have a seminar on Namashtakam.
Okay, you will get.
Thank you for glorifying the holy name. And also, I was feeling that the glories of the holy name is infinity, actually. I mean, so many previous acharyas have written so much on the holy name. So I was just thinking about that verse. Athasa Krishna Namati Nalvavan Gajamindya Salamukhe Jivadu Swamabha Spruta. So, I mean, so potent the holy name. I was just thinking about that because you chanted this, you mentioned about these nice verses from the Namashtakam by Rupa Goswami.
Yes. This Padma Purana verse also very important, that remembering how the process begins with the tongue and how Krishna's glories are unlimited. Brahma says this in his prayers, that even if somebody was able through some algorithm to count all the grains of sand on all the beaches of the world, of the universe, and all the stars in the sky, they still wouldn't be able to count all of Krishna's qualities and glories. So one can go on chanting forever. Manjula Kanta.
Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, I was thinking when I was chanting that, of all the apparats, this thing of having this Asat Krishna, this constant return to material life, getting the taste of the holy name and doing stuff and then going back to doing what you always used to do is such a challenge. But then as I kept reading and chanting and sitting here and looking at it, I thought that, I think I was wrong and Maharaj was right, because Satam Ninda is a bigger problem than even my attraction to Asat Krishna. It's so important, Guru Maharaj, to keep going back to the 10 offenses and reading them again and again, because any understanding of scripture happens over a slow process. It's taking time for us to understand what you're giving us every single day. It just doesn't go in. And I was thinking that rather than ask for other things, I didn't know what to ask today morning in the Sankalpa. And I was thinking that finally, after hearing Malini Mataji, that I should ask the holy name to give me an understanding of how wonderful it is. Because without that understanding, I can't appreciate it. And I'm just doing it like a regular commitment that I made to somebody to do something. And if I could just get a taste, then I would appreciate all these scriptures that everybody seems to be able to remember and absorb so nicely, but for me are just verses.
Yeah, thank you very much. And what you said is a reminder, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, that follow the simple path strictly. And if one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, prescribed number of rounds, very attentively, and tries to avoid the 10 offenses, which is noticeable, actually, because the default mode in the material world is to adhere to these activities that are offensive to the holy name. That's the bent of the whole material world. And even if you follow the first one very carefully, you don't criticize Vaishnavas, people will notice it. It's like, hey, how come you're not participating? We have a thing going here. We need to criticize people in order to make sure that we're right and assert ourselves. And if you sign a non-participation treaty that say, I don't participate in these things, everyone will look at you like, what happened to you? How come you're not part of the cult of criticizing others? You just say, no, I gave up the cult. Yes, Sukeshri.
Well, I had a question. I was wondering that we've been talking about a lot of offenses and for chanting and how we cannot achieve prema bhakti. One of a friend of mine approached and she wanted to just chant because she wanted something material. So I said yes. So I want to know whether that is right, because I thought ena kena prakarena, doesn't matter how you enter, but once you enter and you start chanting, yes, it is going to be offensive chanting. And I was just thinking about all devotees who start off, they all start off offensive chanting. I mean, that's what I thought. I may be wrong, but is that okay? I mean, at least that way they will start chanting, and hopefully just because of reciting the Mahamantra over and over again, they will actually get the Sukruti. I mean, they will get the real benefit of becoming Krishna's servant.
Yena tena pakarena mana Krishna niveshayat. Yena tena, somehow or other. Of course, for each person, there may be a customized instruction, but if you're trying to help somebody along and you can help them to chant Hare Krishna and then guide them as they move forward in the process, refining their understanding, then that's what's necessary. And Narada Muni told Valmiki Muni to chant Mara 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 because he was so depressed, was Valmiki Muni, about his lot in life. Then he said, chant death, don't chant Rama. And of course, the Shastra confirms akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param, that if you have all desires or no desires or just desire liberation, then you should still approach Krishna. So there is a case for that. And of course, we don't make it part of our doctrine that, chant for material desires. There was this Namyo Hringe Kyo, which was blatantly is presented as a process that, so-called Buddhist process that people engage in. And then I remember in the 70s, people were chanting that and they said, yeah, you chant it to get whatever you want. It was part of their doctrine. That's not part of our doctrine, but if you can encourage people to move forward on the path of chanting Hare Krishna and then guide them towards pure devotional service, then yena tena, whatever way you can get them engaged.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Guru
Krishna.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
This is Dhanvari Mataji.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my obeisances, Srila Prabhupada. I just want to share a couple of points. First, you said this Buddhist mantra, and my neighbor had a gathering. They chant all the time this mantra, and then every time I meet the family, and they say Hare Krishna, and they say, you say this, then bring this mantra, and I say a little bit, and they say Hare Krishna to me, and I gave them a couple books and everything, and I like that. The other point I want to share is my father used to sing this Ahobakiyam Kalakutam, that I try to remember that slok from Bhagavatam, that how Krishna is so merciful. Even Putna, he gave the liberation, and he that hope that even though when I chant, if I do not chanting correctly or attentively, not that I want to chant attentively, but I have a hope that he's so kind, and I think about Krishna, and I like that one. So thank you for everything, and I really like to read Bhagavatam and read books, Prabhupada's books. So thank you, Guru Maharaj, for everything. Hare Krishna.
Well, what kind of family you were born into where your father is chanting Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam? This is a famous verse. Actually, it said that when Shukadeva Goswami ran away from home and Vyasadeva sent some of his disciples to the forest to chant verses to attract the mind of Shukadeva. This is one of the verses. And it's definitely one of the verses that, or the verse that Mukunda chanted in order to incite the ecstasy of Pundarik Vidyanidhi when he was visiting his home, and Gadadhar Pandit thought this is a materialistic person. Then Mukunda said, Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi went into an ecstasy, a rage of ecstasy that didn't subside for 8 hours. So with Take Prabhupada's instruction, we can notice the effect of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on us, especially when we make a concentrated effort, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, which means concentrate your effort in bhakti, especially in chanting. There are no problems that can't be solved by chanting good rounds. And also a last point I'd like to make is there's a book called From Good to Great, and it's about companies that excel, and they're great, not just good. And I was thinking recently when chanting that as far as our status as devotees, go from great to good. Don't try to be a great devotee, just try to be a good devotee. They go from good to great, we go from great to good. Being a good devotee means do your best, be sincere, and just try to be a steady, good devotee, not great. And by becoming a good devotee, then great things will happen. And even though don't try to become a great devotee, try to chant great rounds and be a good devotee who chants great rounds. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you back here. I'm just going to leave this on, and I'll see you back here in about 19 minutes. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai, Hare Krishna.
Mm.
Hare Krishna.